everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to take a deep dive into something that's been making waves in the writing world. Rytr, an AI writing assistant.
Oh, yeah, I've heard a bit about it. It seems like there's a lot of buzz, especially about how easy it is to use. AI writing can be a bit intimidating, you know?
Exactly. And that's what caught my eye, too. We've got a pretty detailed review here, so we'll be breaking it down and trying to figure out if Rytr really lives up to the hype.
Sounds good. I'm always looking for ways to be more efficient with my writing.
Well, you're in luck. The review claims Rytr can whip up everything: blog posts, emails, social media updates, even in multiple languages. Pretty impressive, right?
Definitely sounds promising.
Yeah.
But the big question is, can it really deliver?
Right, and that's what we're here to find out. So before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's start with the basics. What exactly is Rytr, and what sets it apart from a simple grammar checker?
So Rytr actually uses this powerful language model called GPT-3. It's not just checking your grammar, it's actually generating text based on what you tell it to do.
Wow, that's pretty advanced. So I could just give it a topic, and it would start writing a whole article. Does it sound robotic, though, or can it actually capture different tones and styles?
The review really emphasizes how versatile Rytr is supposed to be. It can adapt to different tones, whether you want something casual and friendly or formal and professional. And it's not limited to just articles. It's got templates for blog posts, emails, social media updates, even product descriptions.
Okay, that's a lot to unpack. But of course, no tool is perfect. What are some of the downsides?
Well, the review does mention that Rytr might need some editing, especially for those more complex topics. AI is still learning, so you can't expect it to be an expert on everything just yet.
That makes sense. So more like a starting point, something to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, exactly. It's like having a first draft ready to go, and then you can come in and refine it with your own voice and expertise.
That's a good way to put it. Any other limitations?
Yeah, the review also mentioned some limits with customization. You can choose from different tones and styles, but you might not be able to tweak every single word or phrase exactly how you want it.
Gotcha. So not a complete replacement for human writers just yet. But this review did mention something called a magic command feature, which sounded pretty cool.
Oh yeah, the magic command. That seems to be one of Rytr's standout features. It's like, imagine being able to just tell Rytr exactly what you want, like write a press release about this new app, but make it funny and engaging and keep it under 200 words.
Wait, so it's like giving it specific instructions and it actually tries to follow them.
Yep. And the reviewer was really impressed with how well it worked, especially for tasks like writing those press releases. It saved them a ton of time.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. You always talk about how swamped you are with writing tasks for your website. Do you think something like this magic command could actually help you manage all that?
It's definitely worth looking into. Imagine being able to just quickly generate first drafts for product descriptions or social media posts. That would free up so much time for other stuff.
I'm starting to see the appeal here. But before we get too carried away, let's talk about the elephant in the room, pricing. These AI tools can get pretty expensive.
Actually, Rytr has a free plan, which is pretty generous for an AI writing tool. You get a limited number of characters per month and access to basic features.
Hold on, a free plan? Now you've got my attention. What's the catch?
Well, the main limitation is that character count. It's 10,000 characters a month, so it's enough to play around with and see if you like it. But for serious content creation, you'll probably need one of the paid plans.
Okay, fair enough. So let's talk about those paid plans. What are the options and what do you get with each one?
They have two, unlimited and premium. The unlimited plan is only $7.50 a month, and it gives you unlimited characters.
Unlimited characters, that's a big deal if you're writing a lot. Anything else?
Yeah, you also get a decent number of plagiarism checks, which is obviously important.
Makes sense. And the premium plan?
Premium is a bit more expensive at $24.16 per month, but you get all the bells and whistles. More plagiarism checks, access to more voice tones, and support for over 35 languages.
Wow, so it really sounds like they've got a plan for everyone, whether you're a casual blogger or a full-time content creator.
Yeah, it seems like they're trying to make AI writing accessible to anyone who needs it. Yeah. But before we jump to conclusions, let's see who they're actually marketing this tool to. The review mentioned quite a few different types of users, right?
Yeah, it did. Thesis writers, book authors, academic researchers, creative writers, even editors and publishers. It's a pretty diverse list.
Right. That's what makes this so interesting. We need to figure out if Rytr really is a one-size-fits-all solution, or if it's better suited for certain types of writing than others.
Absolutely. Well, let's start with thesis writers. You've been through that grind yourself. Could you see Rytr being helpful for someone tackling a huge research project like that?
Oh, absolutely. Imagine being able to generate outlines, introductions, even whole sections of your thesis with just a few clicks. It could be a game changer for overcoming writer's block or just getting those initial ideas down.
That sounds amazing. But the review did mention Rytr sometimes struggling with complex topics. Do you think that could be an issue for thesis writers who are dealing with, highly specialized subjects?
That's a good point. We can't forget that AI is still under development, and it's not going to replace deep subject matter expertise. It's more like a collaborative tool, something to assist with the writing process.
Okay, so maybe not a magic solution, but potentially a very valuable tool.
Yeah.
What about book authors? I know you've mentioned wanting to write a novel someday. Could you see yourself using Rytr for something like that?
That's a tough one. I don't think I'd want AI writing a whole novel for me, but maybe it could help with brainstorming plot points or generating character descriptions.
Yeah, like having a brainstorming partner, but one that's available 24/7.
Exactly. Plus, the review mentioned it has templates for different types of creative writing, so maybe it's not as far-fetched as we think.
I guess we'll have to see. But for now, let's move on to academic researchers. Do you think Rytr could be useful in that field?
Oh, definitely. Think about it. Quickly summarizing research papers, generating literature reviews, even drafting sections of grant proposals. It could save researchers so much time.
That's true. Time is precious, especially in academia. But what about concerns about accuracy or plagiarism? Academic writing has pretty strict standards.
Right. Any content generated by Rytr would definitely need to be carefully reviewed and edited. AI is a tool to assist with research and writing, not to replace the human element entirely.
Okay, so another potential tool in the academic toolbox, but one that needs to be used responsibly. What about creative writers? Do you think AI could ever truly capture the creativity and emotional depth of human storytelling?
That's a big question.
Yeah.
On the one hand, I can see how AI could be great for generating ideas or experimenting with different writing styles, but there's something about storytelling, that human element, that I don't think AI can fully replicate, at least not yet.
Yeah, it's a fascinating question to ponder. Okay, last but not least, editors and publishers. How could Rytr be useful for them?
Well, think about all the writing they do. Marketing copy for books, summaries and blurbs, social media posts to promote authors. Rytr could handle a lot of that.
So it would free them up to focus on the bigger picture stuff.
Exactly. Acquiring new talent, developing editorial direction,
Yeah.
building relationships with authors, things that really require a human touch.
Okay, so we've explored how Rytr could potentially benefit a lot of different types of writers. But I'm still a bit skeptical. How does Rytr actually compare to other AI writing tools out there?
That's a great question, and it's important to understand how Rytr fits into the bigger picture. The review did mention a few other tools, right?
Yeah, there was a whole section on alternatives. So let's compare and contrast. What are some of the key differences, the strengths and weaknesses? And most importantly, when would you choose Rytr over one of these other tools?
Okay, let's start with Write which is another popular AI writing assistant. Write known for being really versatile and easy to use, kind of like Rytr. It's a good option for marketers and content creators who need to pump out a lot of different content types quickly. Blog posts, social media posts, ads, landing pages, that kind of stuff.
So both Writesonic and Rytr are good for quick content creation. Are there any key differences that might make someone choose one over the other?
Writesonic has some extra features that Rytr doesn't, like
Yeah.
the content rephraser and an article summarizer, which can be really helpful for repurposing content and saving even more time.
Oh yeah, repurposing content is a lifesaver when you're juggling a million different things.
Right. And then there's Phrase.io, which is another tool the review mentioned. This one seems to have a more specific focus, though.
Okay, so what makes Phrase.io different? Is it just another AI writing assistant, or is it something else entirely?
Phrase.io is more about content optimization and SEO. So if you're really focused on getting your website to rank higher in search results, Phrase.io might be the way to go. It helps you with things like keyword research, analyzing your competitors, and creating content that search engines will love.
So if Rytr is like a multi-purpose writing assistant, Phrase.io is like a specialized SEO expert.
Exactly. It's all about finding the right tool for the job.
Speaking of the right tool, what about Quillbot? I've heard of that one, but I can't remember what it does.
Quillbot's a little different. It's not really about creating new content from scratch. It's more about taking what you already have and making it better. It's a paraphrasing tool, so it can help you reword sentences or paragraphs to make them clearer or more concise or maybe just more engaging.
So it's like having an AI editor to polish your writing. That could be really helpful for people who struggle with self-editing.
Exactly. And it has a plagiarism checker built in too, which is always a good thing.
Okay, so that's Writesonic for general content creation, Phrase.io for SEO, and Coolbot for refining your writing. What about that last one, Jasper AI?
Jasper AI is considered one of the more advanced AI writing tools out there. It's really good at generating long-form content like blog posts, articles, even books.
Whoa, books. That's getting pretty serious. Does that mean it's harder to use than Rytr?
It can be. Yeah, it has a lot of features, which is great if you're an experienced writer and you want a lot of control, but it might be a bit overwhelming for beginners.
So if Rytr is the friendly, approachable writing assistant, Jasper AI is the more professional, serious writer.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it.
Okay, this is all really helpful. So to bring it back to Rytr, when would you specifically recommend it over these other tools?
If you're looking for a balance of affordability, ease of use, and versatility, Rytr's a great option. It's easy to use, can handle a variety of different content types, and the pricing is really competitive.
That makes sense. Rytr seems like a good all-rounder, especially for people who are new to AI writing or who just want something that can do a lot of different things without costing a fortune.
Exactly. But let's not forget about the review's specific ratings for Rytr. It scored really high in a few key areas, like content generation speed and tone flexibility.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You got a 4.5 out of 5 for content generation speed. So it can churn out content pretty quickly. For someone like you who's always on deadline, that could be huge.
It definitely could. Imagine being able to generate multiple versions of a blog post in seconds. You could quickly compare them and see what works best.
It's like having a whole team of writers working for you. And what about tone flexibility? The review gave Rytr a 4.5 for that too.
Yeah, tone flexibility is so important for making sure your writing is appropriate for your audience and the situation. Rytr seems to do a good job of adapting its style, whether you need something formal or informal.
That's good to know. It means it's not just a one-trick pony.
And then there's the grammar and accuracy score. Rytr got a 4.7 out of 5 for that, which is pretty reassuring.
That's definitely important. No one wants to read something full of grammatical errors. It makes you look unprofessional.
Exactly. You don't want to lose credibility just because your writing isn't polished.
And Rytr got a 4.4 for versatility. We've talked about how it can handle a bunch of different content types, but it's worth emphasizing just how useful that is. You know, in today's world, you need to be able to write for so many different platforms.
It's true. You need to be able to adapt your writing to all sorts of different situations.
Right. Now, one area where Rytr scored a little lower was customization. It got a 4.2 out of 5. So it sounds like it offers some options, but maybe not as much control as some people might want.
Yeah, that's something to keep in mind. If you have very specific style guidelines, you might need to do a bit more editing to get things exactly how you want them.
But on the plus side, Rytr's integration with other tools got a 4.3. So it seems like it plays well with other popular platforms like WordPress and HubSpot.
Yeah, seamless integration is so important these days. You don't want to be wasting time copying and pasting stuff between different programs.
Exactly. And the support and community rating was a 4.6, which is really good.
That's great to hear. It's always helpful to have a responsive support team and an active community to turn to if you need help with something.
For sure. And finally, Rytr got a 4.8 out of 5 for simplicity. So it sounds like they've really focused on making it user-friendly.
Yeah, which is super important for making AI writing accessible to everyone. You know, not everyone's a tech expert.
Right. You mentioned before that you were a bit intimidated by AI writing. Do you think a tool like Rytr could help people overcome that initial fear?
I think so, yeah. If a tool is easy to use, it makes it less scary to try. It helps you focus on the creative possibilities instead of getting bogged down in the technical details.
I can see that. So far, Rytr seems like it's hitting all the right notes. It's affordable, easy to use, and versatile. It's like they've found that sweet spot between power and accessibility.
And as AI writing technology continues to evolve, I think we're going to see more and more tools like this. Tools that are designed for everyday users.
That's exciting. It's like the democratization of writing. Now, anyone can create high-quality content, even if they're not a professional writer.
Exactly. It's opening up so many new possibilities. But before we get too philosophical, let's bring it back down to earth for a minute. The review had a whole section on how to use Rytr. It was pretty detailed with step-by-step instructions.
Yeah, let's walk through it and see just how easy it is to get started.
Okay, sounds good.
So the first step is obviously to sign up for an account. You can do that on their website using your Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, or email account.
So it's a pretty straightforward process.
Yeah, seems like they're trying to make it as easy as possible. Once you're logged in, you'll be taken to the dashboard, which is basically your home base.
Okay, so the dashboard is where you access all the different features and tools. Makes sense.
From the screenshots, it looks like it's pretty well organized. You've got a menu on the side with all the options, and then the main area where you create and edit your content.
Got it. So what's next?
Next, you choose what you want to create. They have all those different templates, remember? So you just pick the one that fits your needs.
Makes sense. So if I wanted to write a blog post, I'd choose the blog post template.
Yep, exactly. And then after that, you set the tone and language. You know, do you want it to be formal or informal, playful, or serious?
So I can tell Rytr how I want my writing to sound.
Exactly. It's all about adapting your style to your audience and the purpose of your writing.
Right, of course. So what happens after I've set the tone and language?
Then you need to give writers some context about what you want to write. You know, some keywords, phrases, maybe a brief outline. The more information you give it, the better the results will be.
Okay, so if I was writing a blog post about AI writing, I'd give it some keywords like AI writing, productivity, creativity, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And maybe a quick outline of your main points. You know, the different types of tools, the benefits, the potential downsides.
Got it. So basically, I'm just giving Rytr as much information as possible to help it understand what I'm looking for.
Right. And once you've done all that, you're ready to generate some content.
Yeah, here we go. The moment of truth.
All you have to do is click the Write For Me button and Rytr will get to work. It's kind of fun watching the words appear on the screen.
That's like magic.
Almost. But even with AI, it's important to remember that the writing process isn't over yet.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
The AI is just giving you a starting point. You still need to review it, edit it, make sure it sounds good and that it's accurate.
Exactly. AI can be a powerful tool, but it's not a substitute for human judgment.
So the next step is to put on our editor hats and start refining the AI's work.
Right. And Rytr has some built-in editing tools to help you with that. You can highlight text, change the tone, add or remove sections, even generate multiple variations of a sentence.
It's like having a writing partner who's always available and never gets tired of making changes.
Exactly. And before you call it a day, there's one last step you can't forget.
What's that?
The plagiarism checker.
Oh, right, of course. We can't forget about plagiarism.
Rytr has a built-in plagiarism checker, so you can make sure your content is original and avoid any accidental copying.
That's a relief. It would be a nightmare to accidentally publish something that wasn't entirely your own work.
Exactly. So to recap, using Rytr is pretty simple. You sign up, choose a template, set the tone and language, give it some context, click the Write For Me button, and then review, edit, and check for plagiarism.
It sounds pretty straightforward.
It is. So what are your thoughts now that we've gone through the whole process? Do you think Rytr could be a helpful tool for you?
I have to admit, I'm pretty impressed. It's easy to use, it's affordable, and it seems like it can do a lot of different things. I could definitely see myself using it for things like generating first drafts or brainstorming ideas or just getting over writer's block.
That's great to hear. It sounds like Rytr could be a really valuable addition to any writer's toolkit.
But it's important to remember that it's still a tool and it has its limitations. We need to be aware of those limitations and use it responsibly.
You're absolutely right. AI is powerful, but we can't let it do all the thinking for us. So what are some of those potential downsides? What are the risks or concerns associated with using AI writing tools like Writeway? One of the things that worries people about AI, especially when it comes to writing, is what happens to jobs? If AI can write blog posts and emails and even books, do we even need human writers anymore?
Yeah, it's a valid concern, right? Technology is always changing the way we work. Think about the printing press or the typewriter or even the internet. All of those things had a big impact on how we create and share information.
That's true. They didn't eliminate the need for writers, but they definitely changed the game. So how do you think AI is going to change things this time around?
Well, I think we're already seeing some of the changes. AI is being used to automate certain tasks, like generating those basic reports or summarizing large amounts of data. That frees up human writers to focus on more creative and strategic work.
So it's like AI is taking care of the boring stuff and letting humans focus on what they're really good at. Things like storytelling and connecting with an audience on an emotional level.
Right. AI can help us be more efficient and productive, but it's not going to replace that human touch, that creativity and empathy that really makes writing great.
Okay, so that's one concern. But what about misuse? What if AI writing tools get used to create fake news or spread propaganda or just generate a ton of spam?
That's another important thing to consider, right? Like any powerful technology, AI can be used for good or for bad. It's up to us to make sure it's used ethically.
It's like a double-edged sword. It can be really helpful, but we need to be careful.
Exactly. We need to think about things like ethical guidelines and safeguards to prevent misuse. And we also need to teach people how to spot AI-generated content and how to think critically about the information they see online.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's also about how we use it and how we educate people about its potential impact.
Right. It's a complex issue, but it's something we need to take seriously. And there's another aspect to consider, too, the impact of AI on creativity.
Oh, yeah. Does using AI to generate content actually make us less creative, or can it help us come up with new ideas?
It's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I think it could go either way. On the one hand, if we rely too much on AI, it might limit our thinking. We might just end up with generic content that's been done a million times before.
But on the other hand, AI can help us break out of our creative ruts. It can expose us to new ideas and different ways of thinking.
Exactly. It's like having a brainstorming partner who can come up with all sorts of crazy ideas that you might never have thought of on your own.
I like that analogy. So it really comes down to how we use AI. As long as we don't let it do all the thinking for us, it can be a really powerful tool for enhancing creativity.
Exactly. And I think that's a good takeaway from this whole conversation. AI is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. It's up to us to decide how we want to use it and to shape its development in a way that benefits everyone.
I think that's a really important point. The future of AI isn't set in stone. It's being shaped right now by the choices we make and the actions we take.
That's right. We all have a responsibility to think critically about AI and to make sure it's used ethically and for the benefit of society.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Rytr, I'm feeling a mix of excitement and apprehension, excitement about all the possibilities that AI offers, but also some concern about the potential risks and challenges.
Yeah, it's definitely a complex issue, but it's also a really fascinating one. AI is changing the world in so many ways, and it's important to stay informed and engaged.
Absolutely. So for all of you listening out there, I encourage you to keep exploring the world of AI writing. Try out some different tools. See what works for you. And most importantly, think critically about the implications of this technology for the future of writing and for society as a whole.
The future of writing is being written right now, and we all have a part to play in shaping that future.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Rytr and the world of AI writing. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into the world of knowledge and ideas.